What's the need of having this discrete view of the world instead of a continuous one, right? So why does it seem to be important to have this well-defined steps or categories or stages or so? How does that conversation takes place in the middle of what it's a large discussion about progress?
Right. So the thing that there are stadial theories all around. We have, the Adam Smith and Adam Ferguson established stadial theories, which are generally four steps. Then you have a whole series of competing accounts with multiple chapters and sub-chapters from Condorcet onward. And there you get like 10, 12 stages and so on. And in the 1820s, you really begin to have a coalescence around ideas of three stages. And then you can subdivide these three stages as you'd like. I think that scenario became very efficient for philosophers, for economists and others, because it made it possible to divide the world relatively straightforward. So three stages are easy to work with. Some of them ended by accident. So the idea of a stone, bronze, and iron age begins kind of marginally, thanks to a Danish museum curator, but becomes quite present very, very quickly because people refer to the new industrial age as an iron age. So they kind of telescope into the past and back. And then other versions have more to do with cultural difference. One version has to do with the ostensible distinction between savages, barbarians, and civilized. And so civilized are us. That to Europeans, that's like obvious at the time. But then they can divide the rest of the world between savages and barbarians. They don't really want to think of China or India in the same way as they think of indigenous people and, some way. And then the other version has to do with imagining cultural advance. So this is an interesting, on the one hand, we see how this enables certain forms of racism. This is a changing story throughout the book. But at the same time, part of what's really interesting about this is that you can see a kind of ordering of the world from the perspective, ultimately, of Paris and of Victorian